Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores Show, a production of Soccermetrics and Soccer Down Here, the only English-language podcast to host the South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. Tonight is the end of Matchday 3 in the 2024 Libertadores group stage, and I'm going to recap this week's matches. First, a summary of the match results. Group A, Cerro Porteño 0, Fluminense 0. Colo-Colo 0, Alianza Lima 0. Group B, Cobresal 0, Talleres de Córdoba 2. Barcelona 0, Sao Paulo 2. Group C, Estudiantes de La Plata 0, Gremio 1. Huachipato 0, The Strongest 0. Group D, Junior 1, Liga de Quito 1. Botafogo 3, Universitario 1. Group E, Bolivar 2, Flamengo 1. Palestino 3, Millonarios 1. Group F, Independiente del Valle 2, Palmeiras 3. Liverpool de Montevideo 1, San Lorenzo 0. Group G, Atlético Mineiro 3, Peñarol 2. Caracas FC 1, Rosario Central 1. Group H, Libertad 1, River Plate 2. Nacional 2, Deportivo Táchira 1. So in these 16 matches, we saw 37 goals, 6 home wins, 5 draws, 3 of which were goalless, and 5 away wins, the most away wins that we've seen in quite a while in the group stage. That's the end of part 1. In part 2, the highlights of the third match day of the group stage. Part 2 of the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores Show, a production of Soccermetrics and Soccer Down Here. You know the scores. Now, let's run through the highlights of each group. Group A featured 2 scoreless draws. Cerro Porteño and Fluminense had a very disappointing result in which Fluminense had most of the possession. The closest that we got toward the goal was a Pires long-range shot that forced a save. And for Fluminense, Hernan Cano had an opportunity with a chance off a corner kick. That was about it as far as the opportunities for either side. Not many goal-scoring opportunities. Fluminense will come away from this a little bit more satisfied with the point. In Chile, Colo-Colo had a goalless draw against Alianza Lima. A really disappointing result for the home side. It was a match in which Colo-Colo took the initiative and they created the bulk of the goal mouth opportunities. Alianza played very deep in a low block, and Colo-Colo really struggled to break down that defensive wall. 2 players for Colo-Colo generate more than 0.6 in expected goals, and 3 Colo-Colo players generated expected assist values above 1.0. Arturo Vidal, Gonzalo Castellani, and Leonardo Gil. The closest chance that Colo-Colo got toward a goal was when Guillermo Paiva's shot hit the post. In Group B, Talleres de Córdoba achieved a dominant result in Chile over Cobresal. Kevin Montilla scored with a header off a corner kick. And on the second goal, Guido Herrera hit a monster goal kick. The ball rebounded off Franco Beckholt, and Ruben Sosa got to it and fired home. It was a match in which Tijeras could have easily been 3 or 4 goals ahead, but they get that 2-0 win. In Guayaquil, Barcelona were second best against the Sao Paulo side that achieved a rare away win. Sao Paulo got the early goal, let Barcelona take the initiative, but they didn't really have another opportunity until the opportunity that resulted in a second goal. And on that second goal, Luciano's shot was batted away by Barcelona goalkeeper Javier Borray. The ball got to Alisson, who fired in the shot from the left-hand side. It was a match to forget for Barcelona's interim manager, Herman Caranya, as Ariel Hollande takes over the side next week. In Group C, Estudiantes de La Plata, who were fresh off their victory in the quarterfinal round of Argentina's Copa de la Liga, lost 1-0 at home to Gremio. It's a rare home defeat for Estudiantes, who has the best home record in the history of the Copa Libertadores. They have won 56 matches out of the 72 that have been played in the Libertadores competition. Gremio lost Matias Villasante to a second yellow card. Yet the match turned on the insertion of Nathan Hernandez, who scored the only goal off the counter-attack opportunity. It's a really tough defeat for Estudiantes. It puts them in a really difficult position going forward, as their next two matches in Libertadores are away, including a trip to La Paz, where they'll face the strongest. The strongest achieved a goalless result against Huachipato. Disappointing for Huachipato, who dominated the proceedings of the match. Maximiliano Rodriguez and Jimmy Martinez were the featured players for the Steelers, but the strongest held out for the draw. They were again prepared to take that point away. Bruno Miranda was the only standout player in the midfield. In Group D, Junior were held to a 1-1 draw against Liga de Quito. Junior went out to an early lead for Carlos Baca. Before Liga de Quito equalized to Alex Arce, who was their best player. Liga held out for the last half hour. They gave up a penalty to Junior in the 77th minute, but Luis Daniel Gonzalez's effort hit the woodwork. Botafogo gained a deserved 3-1 victory over Universitario in a match that was one of their better performances this season. Eduardo scored a brace, followed by Luis Enrique, while Christopher Olivares, deep in the stoppage time, scored a very, very late consolation for Universitario. Group B saw Bolivar of Bolivia achieve a 2-1 victory over Flamengo in a very hard-fought victory. It was a match in which Flamengo held their own. It was an extremely eventful match in the opening 10 minutes as both sides exchanged goals before Bruno Savia scored a winner in the 62nd minute. The result means that Bolivar are still perfect in the group, and this is a very impressive squad. It's one of the older squads in the competition, and it's one of 3 squads that remain undefeated and untied in Copa Libertadores group play. In Chile, Palestino defeated Millonarios 3-1 in a match in which Palestino were the more effective side. Felipe Chamorros scored a double. He opened the scoring before Leonardo Castro scored an equalizer, and then Felipe Chamorros scored a second goal. The match is more even. It was more of a back and forth encounter. Palestino had some excellent chances to sell the match. Chamorro almost achieved a hat trick before Brian Bejar killed off the match with 15 minutes to go. It's a result that sees Palestino back in the Libertadores race, back in that race for a top two position in Group E. Group F featured the most sensational result, the most amazing result so far in Copa Libertadores group play, as Palmeiras came back from 2 goals down to achieve a 3-2 victory in Ecuador against Independiente del Valle. I think the number one question coming out from this match is how did IDV throw this match away? The match went off to a sensational start as Kendry Paez, off a 1-2, but I would call it a 1-2-3, lashed a left-footed shot outside the area to Weverton's right. He assisted on the second goal as well, crossing from the right-hand side for Michael Orios to connect with his head to give IDV a 2-0 lead. Paez is a player who is worth watching. He is 16 years old. He will join Chelsea in July of 2025. He was a standout player for IDV in this match. Endrick, who is another standout player, for playing for Palmeiras, he'll join Real Madrid this July, pulled one back for the Greens in the 45th minute. Both teams had chances in the second half, and the goalkeepers answered the call. Weverton for Palmeiras, Moises Ramirez for IDV. But the decisive moment in the match came in the 78th minute as Jose Lopez came in for Rony. That was a move that would pay off dividends for Palmeiras as Lopez took the ball in the center of the field, hit a perfectly lofted ball onto the path of Lazaro, who finished under Ramirez to even the scores at 2. And it looked like the match would end in a 2-2 draw before Luis Guilherme, in the last minute of stoppage time, took the ball along the right side, about 30 meters from goal, and he lashed onto a devastating left-footed effort that skimmed past Ramirez into the far corner to give Palmeiras a 3-2 win. Why Patrick Mercado didn't close in on him, I'll never know, but the final result is that Palmeiras, against all odds, achieved a memorable 3-2 victory against Independiente del Valle. Liverpool gained a 1-0 victory over San Lorenzo in a match that didn't really see very many scoring opportunities. Gaston Campi had San Lorenzo's best chance, which was a header off a corner in the first half. But Liverpool were more active, particularly in the second half. Agustin Cayetano, Matias Ocampo, and Luciano Rodriguez had opportunities. But the decisive moment of the match occurred in the 5th minute of second half stoppage time. A long ball over the top. San Lorenzo's Agustin Guillay tried to head back to the keeper instead of just kicking the ball in the touch. But he barely got his head on it. He barely got his hair on it, for that matter. And Franco Albanel lofted the ball over the keeper into the goal. A well-taken goal that gave Liverpool a surprising 1-0 victory. The images of that goal sequence were really astonishing. Guillay stayed flat on the ground after he committed a mistake. He did not want to see the outcome of his error. And it puts San Lorenzo in a really difficult situation in Group F. Group G saw Atletico Mineiro achieve a 3-2 victory over Peñarol, a very strong win for Atletico, but one that was much more nervy than it should have been. Gustavo Scarpa scored 2 goals for Atletico. Paulino slotted a goal in between those 2 Scarpa goals, before the 2 Maximilianos pulled back for La Maña. Oliveira on the hour mark, and Silveira 8 minutes later. But Atletico held on for that 3-2 victory. It is a result that means that they're perfect in the group, And like Bolivar, they have an experienced squad with their average age just over 30. The second match in Group G saw Caracas achieve a 1-1 draw at home to Rosario Central. It's an away point, which is always seen as a good result in football, but I believe that Rosario Central will see it as a disappointment against a Venezuelan side that is among the weaker sides in the group stage. Central gained 72% possession of the ball. There was a huge spread in the advanced metrics, such as expected goals and expected assists, versus the effort of Caracas. Kevin Ortiz and Agustin Modica stood out for Central. Whereas on the Caracas side, Edwin Pernilla was the main contributor, and he scored the equalizing goal for the home side. In Group H, River Plate defeated Libertad 2-1 in Paraguay. A huge away win for River. It's not a result that'll dissipate a lot of the concerns about the quality of the side. Miguel Borja took the lead initially, but his goal was overturned by VAR. River would eventually take the lead through Pablo Solari before Matias Espinosa equalized a few minutes later. Again, River Plate's opponents don't create a lot of chances against them, but for one reason or another, they are much more effective at converting those chances. Yet, 10 minutes before full time, River Plate's talents showed through Franco Mastantuono, who scored the winner with 10 minutes to go. They had some more chances to put the game away late. A couple of those chances came through Borja again, but once again, Borja was less than effective at putting away those chances, a recurring theme during the season. So once again, Martin Di Michelis, I think he'll continue to be under scrutiny. He does have the support of the executive board at River, but once again, River continue to win these matches. We'll put aside their Copa de la Liga result against Boca Juniors, but they continue to win these matches in Libertadores. And finally, Nacional of Uruguay defeated Deportiva Táchira 2-1. It was a comfortable win for the Uruguayan Giants despite that scoreline. All the goals were scored within a 15-minute space. Alex Castro opened for the Uruguayan Giants. Jeremias Recoba, the manager's son, doubled the lead, while Ibrani Ruiz Diaz pulled a goal back for Táchira. Nacional controlled the tempo in this match, and they were much closer to that third goal than Táchira were to their equalizer. An interesting thing to note is that Recoba led the team in expected assists, and Gabriel Baez also chipped in with a significant effort in midfield. So the apple does not fall too far from the tree in the Recoba household. So those are the 16 matches that made up match day 3 of the group stage. Here's how the tables look after 3 matches. In Group A, Fluminense lead the group on 5 points. Colo-Colo and Cerro Porteño have 4 points, but Colo-Colo occupies second because they have scored 2 goals to Cerro's 1. Alianza Lima are last in the group with 2 points. In Group B, Talleres de Córdoba lead with 7 points, followed by Sao Paulo with 6. Barcelona SC in third place with 2 points. In Cobresal, they're in last place on 1 point. In Group C, Huachipato lead the group on 5 points. The strongest are in second place on 4 points, separated on goal difference from Estudiantes, who also have 4 points. Gremio are bottom of the group, but back in contention on 3 points. In Group D, Junior lead Group D on 5 points. Liga de Quito and Universitario each have 4 points, but Liga are ahead on goal difference. And Botafogo bring up the rear on 3 points. In Group E, Bolivar are in command of the group with 3 wins from 3 and 9 points. Flamengo are in second on 4 points. Palestino are third with 3 points. And Millonarios fourth and last on 1 point. In Group F, Palmeiras are in first place on 7 points, pulling away from Independiente del Valle and Liverpool de Montevideo, who each have 4 points, but IDV are second on goal difference. San Lorenzo are bottom of the group with 1 point. In Group G, Atlético Mineiro also have a perfect record. They lead the group with 9 points. Rosario Central in second place with 4 points. Peñarol third on 3 points. And Caracas fourth and last on 1 point. And finally, Group H, River Plate top Group H with 9 points, with 3 wins from 3 matches. Nacional are second on 6 points. Libertad in third on 3 points. And Deportivo Táchira bring up the rear of 0 points. One of just 2 teams in the group stage without any points. Now, as a reminder, you can find XG maps and flowcharts for every Libertadores match on Soccermetrics' Twitter/X feed. Matchday is supplied by Data Factory Latin America. If you want to follow me and send a comment or question, my Twitter handle is @Soccermetrics. You can also send questions or comments to @SoccerDownHere or Jason Longshore @Longshoe. We will answer your questions about the tournament in a future episode, and we do appreciate your comments as we strive to make this show better. Copa Libertadores will resume in another 2 weeks with Matchday 4. So next week we'll have a single episode on Wednesday to report news from the competition and give a halfway report on the group stage. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores Show, a production of Soccermetrics and Soccer Down Here. See you later. Hasta luego e até mais.